I am Ponelopele, and you are tuned into the home of good news. This is Stories Untold. Thank you for choosing us today. Welcome to the show. Founder of Ponelopele organization, Jacob Madisha, understands the importance of lending a helping hand to those who are less fortunate. He uses his background as a driving force behind all his humanitarian projects. Although he's passionate about helping children, Jacob also understands that poverty has no age. This is why he does what he does.
I was born in Atteridgeville, Galafong Hospital. I was raised by both my parents, but they separated while I was about 8 years old. So I had to move in between staying with my father and staying with my mother, because my mother didn't have a permanent place where we could stay, where we could be raised. So I grew up with my father, so I could go to school, but during holidays I would have to go to Mathiwestad Amaskral to visit.
Nalangwana imametse ngarata skolo go thusa bana ba bang ko sekolong ene ile ngwana o shy o boy a tshaba ba ha thosa bolele mararata buka rata buka thata na rata go thusa bana ba bang ka di homework na go ngata ko sekolong na rata re a re mama ngwana mo o tlhoka this and that a tsa sana le sona like saparo a fa ngwana mo. And then
my mother back then didn't have a job. She was a domestic worker. So we would see her after a very, very, very long time. Maybe twice in a year or maybe once in 3 months. So but a lot of time I spent it with my father, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. I moved again to Mathiwestad to go and study that side. But again during May, I came back this side because that side there was a lot of struggling, there was a lot of poverty, there was a lot of things didn't go the way we thought they were gonna go because we had other cousins, extended families. So the treatment sometimes was bad. We used to walk on a lot of thorns, so that thing didn't sit well with my heart and with my mind. Because a lot of times we wish that if my father was here, my mother was here, then circumstances would be different, because my aunts and they were giving too much attention and love to their own children, biological children, compared to us. So most of the time we just felt neglected. We just felt that we were just there to be tolerated and not to be celebrated as part of their family. So it caused me a lot of pain growing up in such a background. So grade 5 I came back also this side, whereby I stayed with my father. Grade 5, grade 6, grade 7. That's when my mother found her own place whereby we could stay together with her. There was no electricity, so I had to start high school. I stayed with my mother for quite some time. It was nice because that was the first time I got to spend a lot of time with her together. Coming from a background whereby you stay in a shack, there's no electricity, you smell like paraffin while going to school. I chosen to stay with my father because there was electricity. There was no using paraffin, and they couldn't tell whether I was from a poor background or from a very stable background.
While doing his absolute best to be a model student at school, Jacob's relationship with his father at home was deteriorating.
While I was about to finish matric, because I used to study a lot, from 7 in the morning, sometimes I'd sleep at school, or I'll come back home around 5 a.m. And my father was a security guard, whereby I had to cook for him. While he came back from work, he wanted food to be ready, his clothes to be clean and the house to be clean. So it was a challenge because sometimes I'd come back from school maybe around 11 in the evening, or I'd sleep at school. So when he came back one time, we had a fight. It was on a Friday, then I came back around 11 in the morning. We had a fight whereby he told me that I wasn't the first one to go to school. So we exchanged words. After exchanging words, he chased me away. I had to come back and stay with my mother while doing my matric. It was a bit of a challenge because here we didn't have electricity, and it was hard studying under a candle. But then he asked for forgiveness. He asked for forgiveness so I can come back and finish my matric. I went back there, but after finishing matric, I came back to stay with my mother because now the challenges was not being a student, was being transitioning to being a responsible man and a responsible son.
Sele ka lwala 2013 na haira matric. Ka nako le ya September mmole he batho ma ba ngwala di moko. Ne ke re operation, major operation. Ya mo disturb thata mo ko sekolong. Na se expect hore o tlo tswa ka di result tsa lenga tsona ka bachelor, expect le maybe o tlo kreya ka A.
Despite the ups and downs of his matric year and not achieving the results he was longing for, Jacob still managed to produce some pretty impressive results.
I got a chance to study at University of Limpopo to do mathematical science, but then I dropped out after 6 months. So I had to come back home again, which was hard also for my mother, because she thought that that was going to be the way out of our poverty and from the background that we grew in.
Ne ku tla botlhoko thata se ke botsene sekolo go tsentse sekolo botlhoko ke batla gore o ntshe ka mara tshokolo e leng ka mara yo ke batla gore le leng ke bone ke tsama ke na le ntlo ke batla bona tsa le leng ke na le koloi ke tsona le basadi ba bang ke driver ke na le o snyetse na le mosadi wa gago le ditlogolo ba tha o dropa go sekolong o dropa moya wa ka ha o tlotse sekolo o fail.
Seeing his mother's disappointment following his interrupted studies, Jacob decided to tread the waters between pursuing his studies and earning a living.
My first job was at Markham. I worked there for 5 months. For 5 months, then I resigned because I wanted to go back to school, because I was good when it came to books, when it came to mathematics, when it came to accounting. So I went there to Tshwane North College to study financial management. I did study financial management for 8 months, but then I got a call from Markham again. They said I must come back to work. By that time, I needed the money more than I needed the education. That's what I thought. So I wanted to do both, to study while I work. But then it was a permanent job, and by that time we were starting to write exams at college. So it was hard to balance the two, to work while studying. So after that, that's when I thought of, you know what, because I tried a lot to study, I tried to work, but none of it seems to be going my way. That's when the idea of starting my own thing came into my mind.
Welcome back. You're still watching Stories Untold. Do share with us humanitarian projects that you are passionate about or that you are part of. We are on Twitter at Stories Untold TV as well as Facebook. Thank you once again for being here. We continue our show with the story of Jacob Madisha, who runs an organization, Ponelopele. The organization caters for people in his community. He donates school shoes, meals, anything that anybody needs. They know they can walk into his yard, share their problems, knowing that he is there to listen.
In 6 months, but we managed to do all the schools in Archiville and Salisbury. Then after that, I could see that motivation was not enough, because just like taking a bath, it was something that people needed to take it daily, also by themselves. They needed to do it by themselves to motivate themselves. But it was hard for other people to motivate themselves because sometimes they slept hungry.
Jacob's childhood friend also noticed the cycle of poverty among some of the learners of Atteridgeville.
We discovered that there are kids that don't have uniform to go to school, who doesn't have breakfast, and it's not easy for the kids to concentrate or to pay attention to the teachers on an empty stomach.
Teacher was the beginning of Jacob's big idea.
We started our Ponelopele community development. We started by collecting old clothes, school uniforms, school shoes.
Ka plastic e one o tsama kopa batho go gore gopela diaparo go gore gopela dis gopela fela bjalo dia tla ya nna le yana jana di o ka tse go fitlhela mo go COVID title top organization le ntse le te mara ba no to wa shinela e thomotla e ba enji ke ne go la ba re tsolela ba re ke lockdown ha ona gore aka kena do to do kopa dilo tsa ba kopa dilo this thing thomo post mo Facebook e thomo tswalla pele se pa tshwantsa ba re se sa mo ka mo ga re tlhatswa ka matso tshwanetse re nne mo re tlhatswa washing organization e tswela pele ya gola batho ba tlisa di-donations ba tlisa this tshwanetse tse dingwe di-kete tse dingwe di senyegile like le tsele tse di tlileng no ka di-check tse dingwe ga di-sharp tshwanetse di-check ke nna motho wa mama.
We will donate the clothes, the shoes, the uniforms, firstly at orphanages, safety homes, drop-in centers. Then we would identify households whereby there's a lot of unemployment rate. There's a lot of people that come from vulnerable families whereby maybe you find that their parents are not there, and maybe the granny, the grandfather is the one that is responsible for their well-being. So we make sure that we balance such families, we donate to them.
So we try to meet the parents or the society at large halfway to encourage kids to take part in school without interruptions of lack of uniforms, not being able to go to school because of school shoes. So yeah, we are trying to at least motivate or encourage education.
A group of volunteers rallied around Jacob to help him make a difference in his community.
Babuti ba batlang ka mo jarateng ba tla ba tlo mo thusa ke a ba leboga maitapiso a bona because a ba lebella gore ba tlo kry-a sepe ba tlola memmereko ya bona ko malapeng a bona le batswadi ba bona ka ba leboga because ba ba fa theko ya gore tsamayang le go bo Jacob lo bereka le thuseng Jacob ka 1 2 3 ha ba boa a batle ba tshwere seng ha ba tla mo ba le ba bone ba tsamaya ka ditro ba isa dijo ra apea le bona ba 5 le 1 ke lapile tshwanetse ke tse go washing tshwanetse ke tse eng tshwanetse go thusa go apea ka o sane o seng batso ga o seng ka 4 ba prepare la soup kitchen first week ya kgwedi tshwanetse ra apea ba ta gape re tlo ema mola ra phela ra etsa di chop ra apea re tlhaganetse se leng teng ba tsa ditlo le ba tsamaya.
They contribute firstly their time, and their time it can never be replaced. When I say 4:30 in the morning, they are here. When I say 5 a.m. in the morning we leave, they are here. Mind you, I don't pay them anything. They don't have salaries. Their efforts, their diligence, their commitment, and their passion is what they contributed to the organization. Like I said, just like my mother, if I were to leave this world, I know that the work is gonna go on with the current team that I have. I regard them as my family.
Their own life experiences are a big part of what keeps the volunteers going.
I grew up with unemployed parents. I didn't have pocket money for school. I didn't have a transport money to go to school. Yeah, I used to struggle with this kind of things, uniforms, breakfast in the morning. So that's why I make sure that not all but few of those I can help get a privilege of things that I didn't have privilege of.
I love helping people, like it's in me. I really want like everybody to just like be equal, and us being the same, that's better, because yeah, I'm like helping people, like it's just in me.
It was also my vision to start this kind of initiative. Helping people, it's, for me, it's like, it's a calling for me.
Many people, young children like us, they don't usually do such things. It's just a minority of them doing these things. So I've just realized, Uguti, no man, because of this thing, you are doing it just to benefit our community and our young children. I think it will be a better thing in the future that this, it still stands. And some other generation, the upcoming generation, will adapt to it and will be more interested in perhaps joining us.
Seeing us like giving clothes, food and all those things, and like just seeing them happy and smile, that really like it touched my heart. So I just like enjoy doing this, because like it makes the next person happy or smile at times.
Welcome back. You're still watching Stories Untold. We continue with the story of philanthropist Jacob Madisha, founder of Ponelopele organization. In this segment, friends and family talk about Jacob having a giving heart. While we are here, let me ask you this question. What do you think you will be remembered for? While you're still thinking about it, let's go straight into Jacob's story.
I could see that, okay, since well, the organization is growing, and that is not the only problem that they have. We started to collect non-perishable food items, vegetables, fruits, so we could make sure that we balance the two, having clothes and having enough food in the stomach for you to eat. So while it started to grow, we started to collect sanitary pads, hygiene products, to what it is now. Making breakfast, to making sure that we don't only donate sanitary pads to women, but also your roll-ons, your deodorants, your body lotions also to a boy child. So started from motivation to where we are now. On a typical day, we take out 30 refusal bags full of clothes, maybe 5 refusal bags full of shoes. Maybe the shoes can be up to 300. So we must make sure that all the clothes are clean, all the shoes are clean, that whatever that we donate is in good shape. Because whatever that we receive as donations, we make sure that the clothes, we wash them first. They are clean, the shoes are clean. Yeah, and whatever food that we cook, we make sure that it's fresh and it's cooked specifically on that day. So depending on where we are going and the project specifically for that day, that's what we do. Then when we get to that place, we start first by saving the food. We serve the food maybe for, depending if it's a lot of people, sometimes it lasts for 15 minutes. But then if it's not a lot of people, it can take maybe 45 minutes. Then after we serve them food, we make sure that each and every person also get clothing items. Maybe 200 people, we make sure that we give them 4 items each. Then they take 2 pairs of shoes. If you are not going to an orphanage, because with an orphanage, we will just donate all 30 refusal bags to that specific orphanage. Maybe 5 refusal bags full of clothes and full of shoes specifically to that orphanage. But if you are going to an informal settlement, to an unprivileged community, we have to make a setup. Maybe use rails or actually make our own setup, maybe on the floor, whereby we can monitor those people.
Our objective is to see ourselves being able to assist maybe the whole school with school uniforms, being able to give a breakfast every morning, and other projects that we are busy with, like offering people groceries and so on. Yeah.
We'd like to create a system whereby people use their minds, they use their hands, because we don't believe that every child was born to be a lawyer or a doctor. We believe and want to create a community whereby people can create amazing things with their hands, with their feet, or using their minds.
Helping like another person, it doesn't really need much from you, because you just like helping just to uplift Ponelopele.
Jacob's family and peers commend his good deeds.
Ke lebogela maitapiso a bana ba thata le ena ke mo gore ke a leboga gore a ka gola le so le hang ka twa mo lefatsheng at least go na le o leng gore o tla sala a shebile bana ba bang ko morago.
Mr. J, he's just an open guy. If you have problems or things that you can, or things that are beyond your control, you can go to him and speak to him.
His heart, like he has a giving heart. He's a great person. Yeah, and having a giving heart for me, it's something that I should be proud of, because of a giving to someone who is in need. It's a special gift from him.
It takes a lot of dedication, time, and commitment to pursue such things.
His future wishes include pushing the organization to greater heights to continue giving help and hope.
I believe that we as an organization, we would love to have centers that belongs to us, our own orphanages, our own safety homes. We would like to build our own schools that doesn't only enrich their minds, but that changes the whole educational system that we have in place.
Mama bia tshepo ya mo modimo o tlo thusa tsatsing o tlo re thusa re tlo khona go yetsa dilo kantle le batho ba ko ntle re tlo teketsa ka matso a rena re tlo phomella sela ka bana le yona tshepo e.
In our Sesotho, we say motho ke motho ka batho. So that means people go hand in hand. Like we have to help each other to, in this life.
As we wrap up the show, would like to remind you that it takes each and every one of us to play a role in creating a society and South Africa that we can all be proud of. Indeed, it does take a village to raise a child. Do what you can in the corner of your world. From myself, Ponelopele, and the rest of the team, thank you for being here. Goodbye.